What's up everyone, welcome back to Brad's Bioactive Builds, where I do step-by-step do-it-yourself naturalistic reptile enclosures. In today's video, I'll be showing you how I built this waterfall that stands nearly 6 feet tall in the 8x4x6 Paludarium series. It will include foggers, a really cool pump that Hygger sent me, and a hide built inside the waterfall for my reptiles to use. Enough said, let's get into the video. Alright, let's go. Don't forget to check out part 1 where I build the enclosure from scratch. Part 2 where I build the nest box. Part 3 where I do the plumbing and filtration and prep the build for the rest of the series. This will act as a smaller waterfall that will sit next to the one we're building in this video. I wanted to waterproof everything behind the waterfall to prevent any leaks that might happen. So I applied epoxy in the shape that the waterfall was going to lay. This was just a thin layer to make sure everything would stay dry. And then I'll go ahead and build out the actual waterfall in itself. Down here I'm going to have a PVC pipe. I'm going to fuse it in with PVC cement, and then that way I'll have my cords running through that's attached to the pump to try and keep it all watertight, and I'll put an end cap on the bottom of the PVC pipe. Measured the length of the pipe, then drilled a hole big enough for my cords to fit through. To build out the base of the waterfall, I applied some spray foam and stuck it in its spot. I wanted the bottom of the base to be right at the water line, so the water would have a smooth transition into the water portion. Wedged it into place so it wouldn't move, and applied spray foam to the back side of the PVC pipe. Used a hot knife to trim down the base to my liking. Started connecting some PVC pipe that will run to the top of the waterfall. Held it tight into place at the bottom of the base of the waterfall. Made some random PVC connections for the top of the waterfall. Used hot glue to tack it into its spot. And applied spray foam to mount it into its place. And tied everything into its permanent spot using epoxy. Use spray foam for the top of the reservoir for the water outlet. I'll come back to this, but first I wanted to build out the bottom of the base so I can gauge the water flow coming down the waterfall. Carved down some of the excess spray foam, waterproofed it with epoxy. Use some XPS board with wet epoxy on the back so I can start building up my reservoir. And then built up epoxy in stages, waiting for it to cure. Did a simple water test for 72 hours to make sure it was holding water and not leaking. Drilled a hole in the bottom of the reservoir so it can drain itself when not in use. I really wanted to add a cool feature inside the waterfall, so I started carving it out and making it level. This way I'd be able to make a top and create a hide inside the waterfall. Dried everything in to make it watertight with epoxy. It will have 3 entry points, one in the middle and one on each side. Made the top of the hide using XPS board and epoxy. I applied it when it was still wet and put it in its place. And then added more epoxy to the already existing wet epoxy to mend it all together. It was at this stage of the game I really started to see my vision come to life. Trimmed down the cap to the small waterfall that's hooked up to my exterior canister filters that I featured in the last video. And then tied everything together. Used spray foam to build out the hardscape, adding definition and character. Gave it a test run to see where the water was flowing and where I needed to trim stuff down or build up with spray foam. The water wasn't making it to the right side, so I had to level it off. Built up some spray foam for more surface area. Trimmed it down on a slight slope so water wouldn't pool when the pump turns off. Checking my work with a level. And dried everything in once again using epoxy. I cheated a little bit using a silicone rock stamp to give it its texture. This really speeds up the detailing process and has a nice effect after you pull off the stamp. But to enhance the look even more, using a wet sea sponge to add more character. For additional ways to win raffle tickets for the free enclosure build, simply just drop a comment down below. I'll also add the full playlist at the end of this video for more ways to enter. I'd like to give a huge shout out to my Patreons. Your added support is super appreciated. You also get one-on-one video calls, discounts on my merch. For my $3 and up members, get 4 additional raffle tickets for the enclosure build, and they get behind-the-scenes real-time content with all my builds. Drew a line on one of the ledges of the waterfall so I can use it as a guide, and applied epoxy so I can have an even spread of water when it comes down the waterfall. To paint everything, I'll be using a mix of Drylock, Quikrete, and acrylic paints. And started brushing it on. Honestly, I didn't like the color, so I switched it up and painted it light brown. I did try some new techniques for painting this enclosure. Check out the next video for those details. After this new method, I went ahead and dry brushed the whole enclosure. I'm really happy with the results and how this all turned out. I really wish the camera would pick up all the fine detail, but I'm sure you can see a glimpse and how it came out. To make sure the animals would stay safe, I wanted to create a housing for the water pump. Scuffed everything up so epoxy would bond to it better. Drilled some holes so water will flow through it easily. I'll also be adding sponge filter between the bucket wall and the pump to filter it better. Painted this one a lighter brown because it's going to be in the aquatic section. I'll go ahead and detail it in the video that's coming out after this one. And did the same thing to the PVC cap. Cut my hose to length that'll be going from the pump to the PVC that goes to the top of the waterfall. Added my fittings. Added the top to the bucket for my pump housing. Pulled my cords through. Placed the Hygger pump into the housing. I'd like to give a shout out to Hygger for giving me this pump. I'll go over some of the features here in a little bit. Secured the hose to the PVC pipe using a PVC union. Fed my cords through the end cap, and then through the PVC pipe that goes to the outside of the enclosure so I can plug it in. The Hygger pump has a lot of cool features. You can adjust the water flow from 30% all the way up to 100%. Along with a lot of cool settings that you can customize the water flow all throughout the day. Honestly, this thing is pretty gnarly and better than I expected. I wanted to add a little bit of an extra feature to this waterfall, so I applied some silicone to a bulkhead and added some screen mesh. Drilled a hole right where the water is going to come over the reservoir. Added the bulkhead. Screwed on the top nut. Made some quick PVC that I spray painted black. Attached a hose. Secured it down with a hose clamp. Attached it to the bulkhead. Made a quick shelf that's flush with the base of the Paludarium to add my fogger, and attach the hose. Having a calming mist come down the waterfall in the early morning is really going to be a cool sight to see. It molds itself around the hardscape, adding an enriching and unique aspect to this waterfall. But as the water turns on and cascades down the waterfall itself, my vision of this nearly 6-foot tall waterfall comes to life. The way that it hugs the rocks or comes crashing down is really a cool element that I'm able to offer inside of this Paludarium. The provided hide inside the waterfall is going to be pretty neat to see in use. The combined water and fog running down the fall really ties this whole thing together. As I sit and watch this thing in action, I'm really getting some cool ideas on the direction that this build is going to go. I'll show you that in the upcoming videos. But for something that started out as an idea, put into action, I'm pretty happy with the results so far. Let me know what you think of it down in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, please do me the favor, like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps this channel continue to grow. For the first 3 videos of the series and a way to enter to win more raffle tickets, check out the playlist right up here. For the next video in the series, check it out right there. For some other videos you might like, check it out right here. Thanks for watching.